Hey, look at that. We are live on Thinking Critical at night. You know, not Wes's usual schedule. How's everybody doing? Drew, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've actually seen you visually. I can remember the last time at New York, October.
Yeah, New York. It's been October since we've been face to face or even on a screen together. Glad to see that people are coming in. It's been a big week, huh?
Yep.
lots of news.
It's been a week. Week in many regards. And interesting comics. Some new ones came out this week. Interesting ones. We got a little project launching tonight. So.
But I think what everybody's here for is everybody wants us to give our hot take on Kathleen Kennedy leaving Lucasfilm. I think it's kind of funny that happened. It basically derailed everything this week. We had a bunch of stuff planned on various shows, and that news just knocked everything out, which is strange because Kathleen Kennedy has been leaving Lucasfilm for 10 years now. Mm-hmm. She's surely fired now. And it looks like she's really finally gone. But
is it really going to change?
No, and it's already. I mean, the corpse is already laying in the yard. You know, it doesn't matter who goes out to occasionally desecrate it in front of us. It's a carcass at this point, so it's kind of funny. But yeah, we're launching a book tonight. Another Drew penned opus. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Bloody Echoes and how it came about?
Yeah, so Bloody Echoes is actually live right now. We just launched it about a minute ago. But this started about 2.5 years ago. I was in my car. I was driving, and Murat messaged me, or he called me. I'm sorry, and he said, "Hey, you're into horror. I got a project you may be interested in. It's in the very early stages. Just wanted to gauge your interest." He told me this story involving this evil spirit, a serial killer, possible 2 serial killers, and involving a child. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Go on. And the more we talked about it, I started getting an angle for it, how to tell it. And he just said the last guy who wrote it, it said it didn't really work out too well. So he's like, he thought he'd give it to me because he knows I like horror. And so I just kind of played around with it. And the last, 2.5 years, just had it tweaked. So he had pages that were done, 48 pages that were done, just needed to be inked. And so I'm writing the script based off those pages. So,
okay.
Yeah. And which is backwards from this is the first time I've ever had to do that. And I'm sure that's probably, you've done that before. But,
I've done that multiple times now. Yeah.
This is my first time, and I'm trying to figure it out. And it was challenging. But I gave it my own unique spin, and it was fun. And the shocker was that this was based off of a comic book from Image Comics about 23 years ago. It was called the Tin Can Man. Is what it was called. Mm-hmm. I had never heard of this. My friend Russell, who set up the campaign, I told him about it. He never heard of it either. And it had these great covers. And I just wondering what the hell happened. It's probably the name itself. The name was terrible. But, and I don't know why now. I guess Murat thought I was the right guy to tell the story. And here we are.
We're, of course, talking about Murat Michaels from, a long time Image legend, from back in the day, back in the early days of Extreme Studios, and how many different names? Extreme Studios, Maximum Press, awesome comics. Rob Liefeld has had 15 different companies within the space of Image. I'd never heard of that title either. So that is a good tip for everybody watching. If you think that this Kickstarter, you think this book is going to go places, go seek out those original issues and snap them up before they become expensive, right? Everybody start speculating right now.
Yeah. Just like with Exquisite Corpses, whatever. Yeah, everyone can start specking on those copies since they've just got option for a movie.
Yeah, it's funny because every now and then I go to the comic book store and they've had this what was the book that they did? It was Dead Eyes, but originally it was called like Dead Bunny or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was the Jerry Duggan one, but the name was taken from a bar or something in New York.
Yeah, and I keep seeing the original printing of that up there, and I'm like, I should probably buy that before somebody options it. It's just so I can turn around and flip it when. But who knows? You can never tell with these things, and I don't recommend speculating because that's how you end up with being one of those guys who has 75 copies of The Death of Superman, still in black bags.
Yeah,
that everybody knows somebody who's got that. They're like, oh man,
or the platinum ones.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of Death of Superman, I got the Absolute Edition this week. Came in the Death of Superman Absolute Edition. It's actually one of the cooler ones I now own because in the back, I don't know how they managed to get them, but they have the original pencils and inks for issue 75 in the back.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's actually worth the price of admission.
So it's every page of 75?
Every page of 75.
And every page was, of course, a splash in that issue.
Yep.
So you're getting a huge piece of art with every page. That was, you should make sure to make it out to San Diego this year, Drew, because you can have and bring that with you, because then you can have Dan Jurgens sign it, because he always comes by and visits Lopresti's table. So I'm always sitting there, and I always get to talk to Dan Jurgens. I get to talk to Dan DiDio, all the people that come by to say hi to Lopresti, and you get some really good like inside baseball and like knowledge of like different things that have happened in the industry just from those conversations.
Aaron, you, Wes, me, we need to set up like a Joe Rogan type podcast hangout for just 3-4 hours with these guys and just shoot the shit, and they can just spill all the beans, and we can just shoot the shit about everything behind the scenes.
Well, people are willing to tell you things one-on-one because we're secret keepers. We don't go blabbing things that people tell us. Less so to come on and spill the beans to everybody on the internet, but also, I've found out that there are a ton of industry professionals that listen to Wes's show that we've never mentioned because they would get in trouble. They would get in trouble if people knew that they listened to Thinking Critical, because we are, of course, fair in our reviews. We talk about what we like. We talk about what we don't like. Sometimes we're pretty biting, but that's not allowed in the industry. In the industry, if you want access, you have to kiss the ring, so to speak. And everything has to be, a 7 or above. I think Jim has talked about that, where they're like, we're not going to send you any review copies unless everything's a 7 or above. And it's like, then what does it even mean? Like, this is why nobody trusts review sites anymore.
Yeah. And that's why I love being honest with Wes, and a lot of the creatives, they appreciate us being honest, and I love getting that feedback. And there are occasions where I'll meet a creative and they'll call me out for not ever reviewing a comic of theirs, like specifically Humberto Ramos. I'll never forget his handler looking at me and said, pointing at me, you have not reviewed Strange Academy once. Not once. And Humberto, when he was working on a commission, he looked up at me and just shake his head. Just no. And go back down to drawing.
It's just like, puts a bag over his head like Sylvester Jr. Oh, true.
But yeah, it's like I would like to think, I would hope to think the creatives appreciate us being honest, and instead of just blowing smoke up their ass.
I mean, we try. Like, obviously, there's some people who I've taken issue with their behavior or things that they've done or they've said. And I've been a little more biting. But the thing is, anybody can come up to me at any time at any show and tell me, like, I thought what you said was bullshit, or I didn't appreciate what you said about me, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. It's like I don't know. And you can say whatever you want about me, and I don't take it personally. It's or my work or whatever it is that the issue is. That's just, you have to have a thick skin anytime you're going to be putting out any kind of product into the marketplace.
Bullseye.
Because you're never going to please everybody. Your goal has to be to how much of the fan base can I please? Like, because there's always going to be a percentage that it's like, it's not what they wanted, or it's not what they expected, or, for whatever reason. And, that's valid. So you just have to like go for the the biggest target that you can on any project, especially when you're working with established IP.
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, for me, I give out copies for people to review for like Unholy Nightmare, and I hear every type of different, note, praise, complaint. One of the more common ones I would hear about issue 1 of Unholy Nightmare is that people aren't told everything about the backstory of the characters. They don't know who Ginny is. They don't know who the Recluse is, and I'm like, yes, you're right. That is the point. I don't want you to know it yet. It's not important yet. I'm going to be telling you when I want you to know it. And they would just be like, well, I feel like I should know all that going into this. I'm like, no, it's not. I can't do that.
I also I always caution people too when they're like, oh, this character just did this and I don't agree with that. And I was like, well, I mean, we just started this story, so let it play out because, you might get swerved. And speaking of swerved, we have got Tommy from World at War Comics here with us, joining us on the show.
What's up, fellas?
It's on stream for Bloody Echoes.
Yes, of course, man. Thing looks dope.
Appreciate you being here, Tommy.
Yeah, I appreciate you inviting me, man. Always good to be with you too. It's odd being on a Friday instead of a Saturday, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, we didn't have to wake up early for this one. I mean, not everybody does. Drew being in a different time zone, if he's waking up for aficionados, he doesn't have to be up quite that early. I have to be up and ready to go at 7 a.m. California time. And so I'm never happy about that, but I love doing the show, obviously, so I do it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, it's fun, man. Well, congratulate on another amazing title, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this all came from Murat. Murat had this project. Like I was telling Aaron and the viewers that this was a project. It was originally an Image comic from like 25 years ago, and it just didn't. There was no traction on it. Didn't do anything at all. And so Aaron and Dietrich Smith, the artist of this, they just kind of sat on the art, just had it here waiting. Didn't know what to do with it. I guess waiting for the right guy to come along and to really write it. And the original guy, it just didn't work out. And Murat knew I did horror, and he's like, "Hey, you want to finish this?" It's like, okay, let me give it a shot. So yeah, Aaron was used to it. This is my very first time having to write a script based on art that is done and can't be changed.
Yeah. I mean, that's a little odd, right? Trying to map out the story when the art is complete and you had no say in it.
Yeah, it's just so. I wish Joe was here, but he can't be.
Well,
here right now.
Funny you should say that. Joe is sort of here. Joe says hello, everyone, or hey, everyone. I'm at a concert in Manhattan. That's our Joe out there weaving the rich and varied tapestry that is his life. He says, but if I get back early enough or get a few to come out and chat for a minute, I will. It was really great getting to work with Dolan again. Yeah, because obviously Joe was your editor on
Born of Blood.
Born of Blood.
Yeah. Yeah, and I had to tell him the same thing. Like, look, Joe, there's art here. We can't change it. I'm sorry. So, but he was like, okay, can we at least move some of the pages around in this? I think so. I think we can do that. We can make that happen. But yeah, it was challenging. It was a fun challenge.
And I am used to that because like you said, I have done that before. I did that for Merck. That's actually how I got into the industry, was working for Tokyo Pop and doing adaptations of various mangas that would come in. And sometimes you would get these translations and they just did not work. They were really, I don't know if the translator was bad, or if the story was really dry, or if just going from Japanese to English, like it just didn't make a lot of, it didn't really like resonate or sound natural. So you would have to go in and you would have to kind of like retell the story. Now, granted, I had a guideline of what the story was actually about, and I would try to adhere as close to the creator's vision whenever possible. But every now and then you would get something where it was like the licensor would actually say to you, we recognize that this is not great, and so just do whatever, I actually had a Devil May Cry book where I think that they liked the original, but they wanted it more in line with the game. And so they were like, up Dante's sarcasm, make him more of a sardonic badass. We want him to be like really cocky and et cetera, et cetera. And none of that was in the original dialogue. So I had to go in and I had to adapt it the way that they wanted. And fortunately, most people seem to enjoy it. Although, like, 10 years, 15 years later, I got somebody hitting me up on Twitter telling me I was a horrible person and I'd done like a terrible job on this thing. And I was like, oh, that's right. I did write that. I was like, sorry. I mean, I did the job that the licensor asked me and most people seemed happy at the time. So, like I understand it wasn't an exact adaptation of the creator's vision. But the person that owned the property, that's what they asked me to do. So what are you going to do? And then that's what I ended up doing at Merc, because you guys had 4 issues of Miss Meow done Kickstarter, 4 issues of Death Rage done, and I think we had 2 completed issues of Born of Blood that had been out there.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
And so it was like, come in, here's the existing art, and we did the same thing. It was like, okay, well, I could add some pages, and I could move some stuff around, and then change the the lettering, change the dialogue, and so we just started to adapt everything to like pull it all closer together and draw more connective tissue between the characters. So it's definitely a different thing than sitting down and writing your own script from start to finish.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And so was there any like challenges, Drew, while you were doing it, where you were like, oh God, what do I do? What do I do with this page? I just don't know what to like make the characters say, or
Yeah, and
how do I communicate?
Yeah, what was difficult sometimes is that some of the pages, it'd be like almost completely different. And so it's just because I like to incorporate transitions. So I'm trying to incorporate transitions from a page to another where it's completely different. I'm like, all right, how in the hell am I going to make this work? So but that was probably the more difficult part. And the other thing was with the art and the story where it took place, like there really was no firm setting. Marat didn't really say where it took place. So I was like, okay, I'm going to it's in Indiana. There we go. It's going to be in Indianapolis. So I just said it there, and it's in 1999. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm going to incorporate these elements, this other part of the city, this other part, and this Burger Chef, famous Indiana Midwestern place. And just kind of make it feel like a lived-in world.
I missed this title, Drew. This is when I kind of took a break from comics. I was married, had my first kid. So, man, I knew nothing about this.
Tommy, you're not the only one. All right. Aaron did. I didn't know about this. Aaron didn't. Russell, who does all of Marat's campaigns, and Billy Tucci's, he never heard of this. And
Really?
He was like, wait, what? This is actually based on a release one? I'm like, yes, it is. And we couldn't believe it.
I just got the Galapian cover, man.
Oh, it's hot. I love it. Yeah.
Me too. I'm a big Galapian fan.
Yeah, there's some good covers with this campaign. And I know that, it's interesting to me because, this is one of the rare things that I'm not editing for you. Joe Corallo's editing it. So I get to check this out, not in its formative state, but I get to check it out as a completed project, which will be different because, normally I'm seeing everything that Drew's doing like stage by stage. So this will be an exciting one. And I know Joe's going to kill it because Joe is a fantastic editor.
Yeah, he really helped me along because I know you're a busy guy, so I'm just like, you know what, I need a guy who can, because Marat needed a quick turnaround on this, so I knew Aaron was busy, and I'm like, all right, I gotta see if Joe's available because I need help, please. And so fortunately, Joe was available, and I gave him the script, and this went through I think 4 drafts, but it feels very good. At this point, I feel pretty confident. So I really hope people check it out. Horror is a tough sell anymore. It's one thing I've learned. And I really hope people do give this a chance, if not just for the covers.
We've got Caffeinated Wolf in the chat. That is Andy Andrew. Andrew, let me know if you want to, if you're in a position to come on. I'll send you a link.
And I just sent a link to a certain image artist who may be popping in here in a minute. So
nice.
Talk to an Image Comics legend. You're ready to hopefully hop in with us.
It's Todd McFarlane, everybody.
Oh, hey bud, what's going on?
That was actually pretty good, Drew.
He has a very unique way of talking. I'll never forget this meeting. I met him 2 or 3 times, and just I remember being in line. It was at Boston Fan Expo back in like 2022. It was like the first time he came across the Mississippi, and they were getting ready to launch at Spawn 299, 298, and he was like, it was before the show opened. He's like, "All right, guys, this is not a fancy French restaurant. This is like McDonald's. We're gonna get you guys in, be boom, 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 boom. All right, so all right,
Dude, you got it down, bro.
The first time I ever got to talk to Todd, Tommy, you've probably interviewed him on your show, right?
Yeah. Go ahead, Aaron.
I'd say the first time I ever got to talk to him was actually a couple of years ago at New York Comic Con, and I'd been to various like panels and things like that, but it was like it had always been packed, and this New York Comic Con panel was for the toys, so it was it was a pretty well attended panel, but I was up in the front and they were taking questions from the audience, and I got to stand up and I got to ask a question, and Todd was like super gracious, super cool. And having been a fan of him when I was a kid, like my dad actually drove us out on our family vacation. We were driving from California all the way up to Victoria Island in Canada and then back. He's like, we're going to see as many states as possible. When we got to Washington, he drove us like an hour, 2 hours out of our way just so I could go to the spider's web. And I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't think. I guess I thought maybe like Todd was going to be there just in the shop drawing. Yeah, so he wasn't. But it was still cool to go see his shop and to see all the art and stuff that they had displayed. So it was neat to finally get to talk to him, even though it had been. Now I'm obviously a very old man as opposed to the bright-eyed kid that was like, "Oh boy, Mr. McFarlane, I sure do enjoy your Spider-Man."
And, it's amazing for Todd. He still has a lot of energy. Whenever I see him, it's just him and Rob still got a lot of energy, and it's great to see.
I will say, there's a lot of amazing people in comics. Todd always makes you feel like you've known him forever, man.
Yeah.
After our interview, we probably spent another 40 minutes talking, man. He had just moved to California from Arizona. He still has a place in Arizona, but he had just moved there to be closer to one of his kids that just got married. But it was awesome, man. I'm a huge McFarlane guy, so as you could tell, I got about 800 of his figures. I bought 3 more today too.
I hope for Todd's sake, he maintains a residence in another state.
Yeah,
and has California as his secondary, because I don't think he wants to take the tax hit of moving to California. You've got to at least try to be a little bit smarter with your money. And if you're retiring, get your money the hell out of California.
Yeah. He actually, I mentioned, I made a comment like, "Ooh, get ready for $5 gas prices, Todd." And he goes, "I'm Canadian. I'm always real proud to pay my taxes." I'm like, "Oh, really, man?"
Okay.
All right. Hey.
Fair enough.
I don't want to pay taxes. I don't want to pay triple what every other state.
Yeah, it's like there's a certain amount of tax I'm willing to put up with, but we are way past the point of what I'm willing to. And especially when you find out, where it's all going. It's like, oh, it's all just being poured down a toilet.
Poor California.
Hey, look who we got in the chat. We got HH from Sigma Comics, creator of Here Comes Calico and the Green-Eyed Bandito.
Oh, and not just that, we have a certain popular cover artist right above HH, the Norin Lear. That is Leslie Lyrics Lee.
Oh, hey, I never would have known that. Hey, Leslie, nice to see you. Sort of. I mean, I'm not really seeing you, but nice that you're here.
One of the sweetest ladies in comics.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she's great. Met Leslie for the first time. It was New York, right? Yeah, we were in New York. Mm-hmm. And she was just an absolute delight. Like I loved chatting with her at the table, and actually she had me do a live reading of the Kneel Before Doomface preview for her. So I had to act out all the characters for her. It was pretty fun.
Did you have voices for everyone, Aaron?
I did. I mean, my Lexi voice isn't too good because obviously doing a sexy lady is tough. But
I'd be worried if it was.
Doomface and and all the other characters that were in that first issue. I did a pretty good job, I think. Leslie would have to tell you.
Is it a Cobra Commander type voice?
For Doomface? No, Doomface is more of a, unless he's angry, but he's just more of a dismissive kind of, that's the voice that I do for him is, very much, I guess maybe like Lee Pace's Ronan. I don't remember killing your family. I doubt I'll remember killing you. Like just that kind of snottiness.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the voice in my head when I think of Doomface.
That's hilarious.
Now, Drew, do you do that when you write characters? Because that's the best piece of advice I ever got as a writer. Was from Tad Stones, which was pick the actor or pick the voice actor that you would cast, and then go from there.
That's pretty much what I do. Yeah, same thing. Whenever I read comics, that's what I do. I always give a voice to the characters when I read them, and it just helps me along the way. So, like for the Recluse, it really is, Keanu Reeves, John Wick in that voice. Dracula, Vlad, it's very much like your Doomface voice is how I see Vlad speaking, but a little more playful. And for Jenny, it's like a Rosario Dawson, right, when she's talking. And for Father Mario, kind of like a Harvey Keitel, just got a spark to him. And Trinacria, it's hard to really place, it's hard to put a voice to Trinacria, but that would be like a CG modulated voice.
I'll send you my friend Laura Post's reel, and you'd be like, oh yeah, she always gets cast as like the villainous women. I think right now she's Emma Frost in the Marvel Rivals game. So if you guys are familiar with that, we've got a couple of people backstage. Let me go ahead and bring on Andy Andrew from the Rippaverse.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Hey,
all these handsome men and talented men, and then I'm here mucking it all up.
It's like, hey, we've all got beards.
Yeah. Hey.
Now, Drew, I'll let you introduce our next guest. I'm going to bring him on here.
Image Comics legend, penciler, inker, colorist extraordinaire, all-around talented artist, Mr. Shelby Robertson.
Shelby, wow.
Hey,
how's it going, Shelby?
Good. How is my audio? Is my audio off the chain today or clean? Okay, good.
Yeah, you sound okay to me. You got a little bit of a
right.
It's got a little bit of a quality, like an echo quality, not like distracting, but just you sound a little bit dramatic.
Okay. I keep jumping on these. I keep jumping on these other streams, and they use all different kinds of StreamYard and EVMux and Restream, and it messes with your settings. I feel like every time I jump in somewhere else. Yeah. Good to see everybody.
Good to see you too, man. Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So what are you working on now, Shelby?
Right now, more covers.
Ooh.
Actually. I just finished a penciling, inking, and coloring a Battle Beast. I think it's for number 7.
Ooh.
I think.
Nice.
I don't know these things. I get asked and then told, and then I see it 3 months later. So yeah. I finished that, and then I helped a shop with an exclusive for. It was a Shredder, a Frank Miller homage cover for a Shredder cover.
Ooh.
So originally I inked and colored it. I was not the penciler. And that one something happened. It was rejected. The artist redrew and re-inked it. And then they sent me the line art file to recolor. And it was off just enough where I couldn't just like fake it with my old file, So I just was like, all right, I'm going to start from scratch. Same idea. But so no, just having fun. I've been going since like 3 this morning, man. I had to drop my ladies off at the airport, and my daughter's at a dance competition right now up in Portland. So I live in Tucson, by the way, guys. So not anywhere near Portland.
So she may be up there in competition against Aaron Lepresti's daughter, who also does dance. Although maybe they're not in the same age category.
She's 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. No.
She's 11. Yeah. My kids are all different ages. I have a 30-year-old, a 27-year-old, both boys, and then an 11 girl. So, yeah, they've all lived different lives. They don't, she wasn't raised with them. They were already out of the house with jobs and stuff. So,
oh, that's cool. Good luck to her in her competition.
Yeah.
Andrew, what do you got going on?
Oh man, I'm just waiting on bated breath for my books to come back from CGC so that people can tell me, man, you're not good at this. Like, go back to just writing your silly little pigeon comic strip, right?
If they get a CGC book and they tell you you're not good at this, I would be like, why did you get the CGC version? They're like, no, I didn't read it. I just don't feel like you're good at this.
Right. They just took one look at it. I don't like this Andrew guy. And
I can vouch for you, Aaron. I can vouch. It's pretty good. Blue Shift's going to be amazing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, I still have to go. I still have to read through it and give you my thoughts on it, which
Yes,
I have
please.
I have not done. But yeah, no, my weeks, my last 2 weeks got kind of thrown into chaos, and it's been interesting. But 2026 should be a really good year. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening behind the scenes. We're doing a lot of books. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of books with Drew. I'm doing a lot of books myself with some various different creators. And hopefully what I'd like to do is once we deliver Doomface #1, I'd like to get 2 more out before the end of the year, because it looks like we are going to be able to switch over to the model of having the book done before we put it up for sale, which is always the model that I wanted to get to. It's the Rippaverse model. It's the Iconic Comics model. It's I don't want people to have to wait for these books, and they've had to wait longer for Doomface #1 than I wanted. So we're going to correct that going forward.
Awesome.
It's not an easy model to operate off of. Like there's a lot that goes into it, and you know this. There's just a lot that goes into creating comics in general. There's so much, like when we're just when we're kids, punk kids and fans, and we're just picking up Spider-Man or Darkness and Witchblade. When I was too young to be reading Darkness and Witchblade, my mom didn't know, so that's okay. And when we're doing that, we don't know what all goes into it, other than wow, this is really good looking art, right? But man, once you see how the sausage is made and you get an idea of the logistics of everything, that's a whole other beast that comics suddenly becomes.
Yeah. And when you're doing it small, you're a small team. One person gets sick or one person has a family emergency, and it throws off everything, because now it's like, okay, so we're going to be delayed by 2 weeks, with let's say with the art, but now you're out of sync with your colorist schedule. So you have to make the decision. Do I hire another colorist and have the book not look consistent? Do I wait? You have to get those things lined back up. So one little piece of it, can affect the whole train down the line.
Right, because what are the other artists going to do? Just sit on their thumbs and be like, well, I'm guess I'm just not going to do work for X amount of months. It's like, no, especially since most artists are gig guys. It's like their bills don't disappear just because somebody else on the production line had some sort of an accident or what have you. So that can throw everything off.
Shelby, as an artist, how many times have you had to rush something because you just didn't get it in time, and they're like, "Oh, we need this by this time," and you're like, "All right, what do I do?"
Oh, yeah. When I get a Dropbox link at 9 a.m. and they're like, "Could I have it by 2?" Yeah, I got 27 years of working with Liefeld where he's done that to me. So it's yeah. Like I don't think that I had more than 24 hours on a single page of the Bad Blood series that I did ink. I inked the Bad Blood series for him, and then the first issue of Badder Blood was me, and then I bailed. I went and started doing my own thing again. Yeah, I mean it's pretty typical. Yeah, I don't know. Like I got hired in. If you guys don't know, I got hired in when I was 16 back in 1994, and I was doing finishes for Rob. I was helping Splat on Prophet Volume 2. I was doing some layouts for Calvin Irving on the Chapel ongoing series, and then was getting my own name cred on books as well. Some of the Black Flag stuff. I did Crypt Number 1 was my first full length book, like completely me, like start to finish. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, everything was like every day you were doing a page. It might not seem that way as like a collector or a reader. I don't think a lot of people realize this, that a lot of Image comics in the 90s, like one of the biggest beef that people had with it was, they're all late. They weren't late because of artists. They were late because of the coloring departments, because you could finish far more work in a 12-hour workday or even 6-hour workday than a colorist was able to complete on a page in a lot of departments would have to split a page. So you'd have 2 computer colorists, like say at Extreme Color, Tanya would start a page and then Liz Lewis would finish it that night, and they worked a 24-hour shift, right? And not every colorist in there, like this dude Berger, this guy's name, he would go by Berger. He worked graveyards. And there was days he wouldn't even show up, like a lot of these people, like they show up, they don't show up. Some people are like, just doing double page spreads. They're given a whole week for a splash. Drew Posada was one of them. He was a super, super cool guy. I don't know if you guys are familiar with his work, but he had a book that came out, I think it was through Waddick, or it might have been through Frazetta, but it was a full art book. He did digital paintings, and they're beautiful. He colored a lot of that early Darkchild stuff. If you really like those covers, a lot of that was Drew Posada. All the double page spreads that Liefeld would draw with like the broken back glory and stuff. That was Drew Posada colors that he did a lot of heavy lifting. And he came over from Top Cow, and he was one of the guys, I know, he was one of the guys, him and his brother Alex. Oh, by the way, he's a twin. So he had a brother Alex who was just as good and twice as slow, but they still hired him. So Alex would, he'd do 2 or 3 pages a week, and then Drew would do a double pager, a cover. Between him and Andre, they'd probably get 10 pages done every 14 days or so. I spent a lot of time back there with my board. I wouldn't really hang out in the bullpen. I was hanging out with the colorists, learning, trying to spread my wings back there, figure stuff out. Because computers were like new to me. I never owned a computer outside of like I'm an old head, dude. I had a Commodore 64 and an Amiga for gaming when I was younger,
right.
So, yeah, I remember electricity, you know what I'm saying? Like way back when they invented it, like all this stuff.
I remember getting the Commodore 64 one year for Christmas and being like so psyched. Yeah. And then and then I had like a drawing program that just frustrated the hell out of me.
Yeah.
It was like, I can draw this sailboat. And then I'm like, why am I drawing this sailboat?
Yeah, we used to have to use boot discs every once in a while, depending on the game, like how much RAM usage, you'd have to use a boot disc and then you could play your game. You had to open up that, 15 megabytes available. So,
it's funny. The pinnacle of, the arcade used to be Dragon's Lair, remember? It's like, this is the most sophisticated game of all time. It costs 50 cents to play because it's so sophisticated. And it was like, 4 minutes of actual gameplay? Like if you made it all the way through?
I had a buddy that could complete it. Space Ace 2. I sucked. I would stick to Altered Beast, Rygar, E-SWAT.
Yeah, see my right next to the Dragon's Lair at the pizza place was Paperboy, and on the other side they had Punch Out. And so that's what I would stick with. And then later they got like Commando, which is one of those games you're running and shooting and throwing.
You're
throwing
super old like me.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Right.
I was going there
because status, dude.
So yeah. So we've got let's hear from the peoples, as Wes would say. Sigma Comics gave $5 and said that they're in Portland right now for Fan Expo, but want to remind everybody to support this book. Great teams make great comics. Support. We appreciate that. We also love when people support HH. He is the hardest working man in indie comics. He is at every show hawking his wares. He has got his sales pitch down. Yeah. It's fantastic. So Drew, speaking of sales pitches, why don't you pitch us on Bloody Echoes? You told us kind of like how it fell into your lap. Now tell us what it's about and what people can expect.
So it's 1999. It takes place in Indianapolis, Indiana, and there's a serial killer already striking fear into the community, into the city. And bodies are piling up of young women. It's not pretty, but amidst all this, there's also rumors swirling around of another serial killer whose MO does not match this of the first. But as we get into it, we learn more about there's some cultural elements pulled into this, Native American and Chinese elements pulled into this story. And we also get to see what real, true evil is like in this story. And it's also in black and white, because I love black and white. I love black and white comics. I love horror that's in black and white, like from hell. And I'm glad Dietrich is doing this in black and white. And I really hope people do turn out for this, because this is a fun, scary, wild ride. And I love a lot of the elements in this. And it's fun taking something that there was art, but there really wasn't much there, and getting a chance to really flesh it out. And now, Shelby, I don't know if you knew this, but we didn't know this, but this was originally a comic from like 25 years ago called The Tin Can Man.
Oh, I know.
Okay, okay. So can you tell us?
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this? We don't know anything about this. We can't find it online or anything.
Yeah, so I'll sell you my copy for $58 shipped. I have, so I have a preview edition from way back in the day, and it was actually penciled by Jonathan Glapian before he was an inker, he was a penciler, like way before. Yeah. So, Glapian penciled it. I'm not sure if Chance Wolfe did some inks on it. I know way back in the day too, Jonathan was Chance Wolfe assistant. Chance, you guys, I'm going to go way back. Chance Wolfe was the inker and art assist for Todd McFarlane for a decade. He lived with Todd for years. Chance and I still talk like now. Chance is the inker on the new Youngbloods relaunch right now. So Chance is inking that. But anyways, long story. So my understanding is it was designed and then drawn by Glapian, but because I hit up Murat. I did one of the covers, so I hit him up and I go, "Wait, is this Tin Can Man?" Like, because I haven't seen this thing in years. And he's like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then he kind of told me a bit, and I was like, "All right, that's cool, dope." So from what I'm not going to dig it out. I have 18 long boxes in this storage unit here. It's in there. But it was drawn really well. From what I remember, it read fine. We're talking like when it came out, it was like I'm pretty sure it was an Image release.
Yeah,
but it might have. I was gonna say it might have also been. He was doing a lot of stuff with. Oh God, what is that company? The company that bought Glory, and they were doing the Frank Miller RoboCop ongoing series. I don't remember their name. Yeah, so for some reason, my brain, I'm thinking it could have been there, but if it was Image, it was Image.
Yeah, it was Image.
They only got one or two issues that I own, at least.
Okay,
I've seen.
Yeah, they put out 3, and I guess you have to understand this is the only thing this writer ever did, and but it looks like a lot of these pages, from what I understand, a lot of them are just completely redrawn. It's been remastered by Dietrich, so it's more of a streamlined story.
By my old roommate, Dietrich Smith?
Dietrich Smith, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was roommates with Dietrich way back. Yeah. Man,
Now,
it's a small world.
Drew, post the I'm looking for the link online, but
okay, so I've shared my screen in our chat where you can be able to pull up the campaign. But
okay.
I'll share the link in our private chat.
Here we go. At a stage. All right.
But yeah, that's the Jonathan Glapian cover right there.
Yeah.
And just a beautiful job. And but this was the selling point right here for me. When Murat, initially I was like, I don't know, but then he said, "Oh, I got a cover by Jeff Darrow." I'm like, I'm in. Let's do this.
I don't know if I have time for that. I have a Jeff Darrow cover. Okay.
Yeah. It just because Jeff Darrow is that name among names, just if watching this, you're like, who the hell is Jeff Darrow? He worked on The Matrix back in the day. Did a lot of work with Wachowskis. And on top of that, he co-created Big Guy and Rusty, the boy robot. He did Shaolin Cowboy, Hard Boiled with Frank Miller. He's a very, very, very talented artist.
And sorry, I'm just responding to the chat. Yeah, tell us a little bit of what we're looking at here.
So right here, this is our launch special. It's our 72-hour launch special. We're doing a special collector box you can get with the Jonathan Glapian cover on the box, where you get all 5 Virgin covers, including the one that Shelby worked on, some 5 metal cards, as well as each of the covers. And one of the covers is actually glow in the dark. It's the big head variant, what we call it. So it's based on the Ghost Rider cover from back in the 90s.
Oh, that's always fun. Yeah, I always love the homage covers.
Yeah. So yeah, we got Jeff Darrow, Jonathan Glapian, Murat Michaels, Dietrich Smith on the covers, And yeah, Dietrich did the pencils and inks. Joe edited. Got Zen on the lettering. Russ did a lot of the crowdfunding. Here's some examples of the interiors by Dietrich.
Pretty clean.
Yeah.
Pretty clean interiors.
Yeah.
So Drew, when you're doing this, you said there's cultural elements of there's Chinese culture and Native American culture. Like, what kind of research do you do when you set out to add and were these things present in the book already, or is this a wrinkle that you added as you were coming in and writing over the pages?
So the Native American element was there. From what I understand vaguely, it was there, but it really wasn't that fleshed out. And I was like, okay. There's that, but then there's also a Chinese element in this story. So I'm like, okay, let's flesh out more of this. Let's see what we can do to bring these two cultures together in a clash. So it was fun researching really both cultures because I'm not Native American and I'm not Chinese. Shocking. But
I thought you were both. What are we talking about here? You know what? This is. I'm done. This is. I'm so disillusioned now.
Building a house of lies.
That's right.
So yeah, it was fun just really researching and just bringing out spiritual elements, of belief and power that both cultures have, and trying to flesh that out into the story, into a narrative.
Very good. I like what we're seeing here. Now, when this was brought to you, and you had to start work and put this all together, does Marat have an idea of how many issues it takes to tell the story? Is the second one done as well, and you have to do it again, or when we get to the second one, will you be picking up the reins of what you've got on the first issue and then running with it? And how many issues do we expect it to go?
For Bloody Echoes,
mm-hmm.
It's one issue, 48 pages.
Okay, so it's a done in one.
It's done in one. Oh. Yep.
It's very nice.
Nightmare prestige novella. Length.
Yeah, prestige length. Yeah.
We don't really see enough of those. Enough done in ones.
No.
Yeah. No.
And I'm just very when we get to the end of it, I'm very curious to see the reception, the reaction, and that's all I'm going to say. But there's the Lampion cover right there, and there's the full Jeff Darrow. Sean Forney worked on that with him as well. I'm guessing Sean probably did some coloring on that.
I could see the dog's butthole. Darrow draws everything, guys. Don't be surprised.
Man.
Yeah, there's no cheating. You're like, do we need to see?
No cheating here.
Do we need to see the dog's junk in there? He's like, yes, we do, because you know why? Because it's real.
Because it exists.
So it looks like we're a third of the way to the goal already, which is nice. $3,000 goal. We've crossed.
I know that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is the one you worked on with Marat. Yeah.
I inked Marat on that. Yeah, he was
the cover
so
I
happy
just
with
backed.
Yeah, that's cool.
Man,
Yeah,
just
he was
that
super
cross
happy.
hatching is insane, Shelby. That is.
Yeah, I'm a lunatic.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that.
I was gonna say, as much of a lunatic as Andre Lunatic, Shelby, or
Nah, with a C, not a K. Yeah.
I feel like Shelby's the lunatic that's like Disco Stew, where he's like, Disco Stew doesn't advertise.
Oh, that looks cool. So black and white. This is a black and white, like an incentive cover, or
I think we're offering black, white, and red covers. So
oh, nice.
Yep. So if they want the full color one, that's fine. And trade dress or virgin, sure. But if you also want the black, white, and red, we're offering those too.
Sweet.
Did I miss that one?
Thank you.
Now I'm going to my pledge manager because I'm like, I grabbed the trade dress and the virgin, but I didn't see the black, white, and red. I'm like, damn it, what?
AL says that she backed it and says, good luck, gentlemen. So I assume she has to go. AL, always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, AL. Yeah, what I love about the black and white covers is that that's where you really get to see the work of the inker, and you really get to see the work clearly that Shelby put into this. Like, do you remember how long it took you to do this?
books.
Oh, we don't want to talk about that. So I work a lot faster when I hijack, and I hijack the hell out of that piece. But Murat knows this. He knows this. Like he likes the marriage of our, when we work together, like his pencils, my inks. Yeah, I just finished. I can't say what it is, but we just did another cover piece that is going to be I think it's going to be a pretty big deal when it comes out.
Ooh.
Yeah, but not to take away from this here, but I'm just saying it's always interesting to see. Sometimes he gives me stuff like this, like most of the rendering and stuff he did indicate. It wasn't just me going in and just vomiting all over, the paper. The other piece is a little more open, so there's going to be a little bit of colorist lifting in it just because of the design element. So I do prefer when Murat goes off, though, like this, because then I feel a little more in my zone, Yeah.
That's
By the way, I'm not an inker, by the way, guys, just so you guys know. I fell into it. Yeah, Rob Liefeld started seeing me doing I've always been a pencil finisher for Rob. For a lot of, it started with the Bad Rock book, and then the half issue, whatever, and then some Youngblood stuff, and then it moved into inking because he saw the way I was inking sketch covers around 2014. So ever since then, everyone's been hitting me for inks. It's a really weird thing. I'm like, I'm not an inker, but yeah, I'll ink it.
Hey, I learned you're also a great colorist too, and fantastic work so far on Unholy Nightmare.
Yeah, jack of all trades. I actually remember when back in the day when you came in on Rob's stuff, because it started to look different. And anytime any artist looked different, I'd go and I'd look and see who their inker was, and there was your name.
Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley had told me that he's been getting the Last Blood books that Rob sells. I do like 20 pages in each of those, and Rob does the bookends pages.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, dude, your pages were the best thing about that book. Nothing against Rob, but he was like, dude, it was really sick, man. So we've been talking a little bit too, just because he's like, I'm like, yeah.
No, you take it to.
We're all freelancers, man. We're all freelancers, of course.
I know, it's like we're just like dirty sailors that go from port to port.
Just try to make it work however you can.
Yeah,
that's right. But no, it's like the inking work that you do is beautiful. Obviously, your other work is beautiful as well. But when you come in and you do Rob's pencils or you do some of these pencils, you really add to it. And that was something that was like immediately noticeable even back in the 90s on those books.
No, I appreciate it. But this one's extra sauce. I put extra sauce in this one, so you guys should get this cover right here. I like pushing my own covers, so that way I can flex later. I'll be like, my cover outsold the other ones.
Hey, that's taking pride in what you do, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm very happy with this piece. Yeah.
That's awesome.
These are limited to 35 each. This 20 in the main tiers and 15 in the add-ons. And
that's interesting.
The version set of 4, which are limited to 40 sets. So limited counts for the black, white, and reds.
Yeah, I want to do on the next campaign that I do for Doomface. I want to do less covers, but come up with some more special ways to do them. So speaking of which, someone in the chat asked if any of the color, I don't know which cover they were referring to, but they said, does it glow in the dark too?
Oh, right here. Right here, the big head variant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this is the glow in the dark variant. This is just like that famous Tex cover from Ghost Rider back in the 90s. So that's just like that cover. It's going to glow in the dark.
It's funny because the 90s got a lot of in retrospect, it gets a lot of crap for the gimmickry, like, oh, things got really gimmicky. And it's true, they did, but there were some awesome gimmicks. Like, I think Rob did that first Miracoat cover. I don't remember if it was on Brigade or if it was on
I think it was
Bloodstrike. I think it was Brigade because I think it was like Seahawk's helmet.
Yes.
And then then you had the Rub the Blood cover on Bloodstrike #1 where the blood would disappear. And it's like, yeah, it was gimmicky and maybe it was cheesy, but it was also awesome at the time. And like to this day, I still look back and I'm like, what kind of cool things? The cover's die cut where Wolverine's claws cut the cover. Yes.
Yeah.
This one has a bullet hole all the way through it.
That kind of stuff's fun, man. Like maybe they went a little out of control sometimes, when you had just way more than was necessary. But on its own, those kind of gimmicks are fun. It adds personality.
Yeah, I mean, anytime anyone did a what did they call the type of cover that they did like on Ninjak #1 and
Was it
it was a very
Chromium?
specific chromium, yeah, like those
Chromium. Yeah.
those chromium covers, the holofoil covers, the glow in the dark covers, all that stuff was great. If it was well done, it was great. Even the X-Men books when we were getting the during Fatal Attractions when you were getting the little reflective hologram card. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that was good stuff.
I mean, shoot, even freaking Clone Saga had some, and Clone Conspiracy had some like really cool treatments on some of the covers. The books themselves left a little bit to be desired, but so the covers were pretty wicked.
Yeah.
What's funny is I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say my understanding. Pick up those Chrome covers so you can enjoy them. I guess that company, I was told years ago, they no longer exist. So like that product, you can't get it for books any longer.
Really?
Not that there's someone else that can't pop up and make something similar, but yeah, Chrome Productions is like done. They did the covers for I know at Extreme they did the splat wraparound cover for Prophet One, and then they also did we had promotional posters for Evangeline for Glory #1 with the Mike Diodato where she's kind of coming down with the sword, stuff like that. But yeah, like all the Chrome production stuff. I think Jim Lee used them for this oversized, this really awesome Simon Bisley Deathblow painting. I don't know if you guys remember it. There was a giant poster. And then some of the smaller companies like London Knight. I had a few covers at London Knight, some Razor stuff and some Night Strike that was on that. But yeah, I'd heard like they kind of did a fire sale. Like when it was done, they just sort of did a fire sale of printing and just shipped a bunch of stuff to publishers and called it a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
I still have that Glory poster. It's wrapped up in storage, but I still have that one.
Do you guys do any of you remember Polito's the diamond encrusted Lady Death cover?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I've got a few of them actually.
Yeah. Was that like 18K? It was like a crazy amount. No, I'm talking. It was like the encrusted one. It was like a 1 of 1. I think he had it at the Phoenix Con.
Okay,
when I
so
saw
I
him
don't have that.
Yeah.
But he's
Yes.
done on his Kickstarters. He does a similar thing with some of them, but they're not out of reach for those of us who are mere mortals when it comes to our bank accounts.
Right. Yeah. I really like the idea of extravagant covers. It's just the insanity behind it. I just really like the idea of it, even if I can't own it.
Yeah, I've always I have this idea in the back of my head that the special edition of Doomface #1 that'll only be ones that I hand out or that I give out to really special fans or whatever that have a really limited number. And I'm always torn between that and no, I want everybody to be able to get everything if they really want to, they really want to jump in. And so I don't know how to navigate that.
So what I've said for years, it's something that I notice as I grew up playing baseball and collecting hockey and baseball cards through my lifetime. Comic books are 10 years behind whatever is going on in baseball card or card trading. So we're going to hit the mark now where you're going to start seeing things like instead of baseball bat shavings or jerseys, you're going to have a piece of Todd's shirt interwoven into the cover, things like that. That is really, I think, where it's going to go. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but I called blind bags 5 years ago and everyone was like, why would they do that? They can't see the cover. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I think it's going to happen because I did some blind bags at a show, just really janky. I stapled them. And I was like, oh, I don't know what cover you're going to get, but here's what you're guaranteed in the 2 mystery books,
Mm-hmm.
And Aaron and I saw that firsthand at New York Comic Con. It was stupid between the monsters. What's his name? The artist,
Mark Spears.
Mark Spears. Those selling like hotcakes, and the Crow blind bags that Big Time had. It just we couldn't believe it. It was insane.
Yeah.
I mean, we had called Variant Interiors 10 years before it happened, before Marvel started doing the Red Band stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, eventually they're going to try to get you with interiors. And then they had that idea where it's like, you don't even get the last page of the comic, in your book. You have to scan a QR code and look at it digitally. It was like, oh, come on. What do you do? At least a blind bag, you're getting the thing that's in the bag. It's not like you open the blind bag and you get a QR code that leads you to a different digital picture. That'll be next.
But
I think
trading cards. I honestly, I'm not joking about that. I really do believe that.
No, I think that Todd needs to start cataloging what shirt he was wearing when he drew what, so that he can make sure that the piece of that shirt is attached to that card with that piece of art.
Armpit stain variant. Yeah, you're gonna end up with that one.
Hey guys, I'm gonna take off, man. I have to take off, but thanks for inviting me. Shelby, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, rest of you, man. I'll share it everywhere. Everybody go back this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Thanks,
Tommy. Appreciate being here, man.
Yeah. Great to see you again, Tommy. Take it easy, buddy.
Take it easy, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Tommy has one of the best comic interview channels.
He does.
And he's always getting big names.
I watched him with Todd. He had Todd on there.
If I would have known,
did him a solid.
Come on.
YouTube did him a solid because I had a lot of people hitting me up with the link. I was like, I already watched it.
That's awesome.
We just need to do an Extreme Studios roundtable with all you guys. Get you guys together and talk about the days. Yes. Because when I was in Vegas this past year with Murat and Dietrich and Terry Sala, the stories I heard, I'm like, oh my God, this.
Oh, Terry was there. Yeah.
Terry was there.
Terry's fun. Terry's fun guy.
Yes, he is. And between the three of them, I was laughing my butt off the entire weekend. The stories I heard, I'm like, God, I wish I could have been a fly on the wall there.
So, all right, listen, Drew, to ask next time, and I'm sorry, guys. See, you guys are going to pay for bringing me on here. I'm going to hijack this like I hijacked them pages. Okay. You gotta say this to Terry. He's probably not watching. You gotta say this, Terry. Say, hey, what's the story with what was it? Say, what's the story with homeless Todd and broken Robert, or say broken Kirkman? That's what, I'm not going to tell you guys on this. You can ask him that. Say broken Kirkman and homeless Todd. That's all you have to ask him.
Okay, I'm writing it down right now.
See, my favorite Kirkman story. My favorite Kirkman story doesn't have anything really to do with Kirkman at all, except for the fact that he was briefly there. But it was at my assistant editor, one of them, Jason Long, when I was at Boom Studios, was standing at the Boom Studios booth, and it was like closing down. Now, if you know Jason had a very very soft-spoken, very kind of like even in his temperament, except for when he got like really mad or really passionate about something. But he had like a very like kind of monotone way about him. He didn't get excited for a lot of things. One of our favorite things in the office was when we were all bummed out, and that happened at Boom a lot because it was kind of a miserable place to work at the time. We would be like, Jason, we need you to read the theme song to Gummy Bears. And he would just read it in his monotone. And for some reason, it was hilarious to us because he would be like bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the Gummy Bears. And for some reason, that tickled the hell out of it. I can't even recreate it as good as it was, but he was super excited to see Robert Kirkman because Robert Kirkman was walking by. It's like the end of the show. They've made the announcement that we're closing in 15 minutes and blah, blah, blah. And Jason is like, Robert, like he just wanted a minute of like Robert's time. And Robert goes, oh, hey, I'll be right back. And walks around the corner. And Jason just immediately deflates and goes, Kirkman's never coming back. And he didn't. And that's the whole story. But for some reason, it was just like, it was so sad. It was so heartbreaking for Jason. My other favorite moment with him was where we had this meeting where Ross, the owner of Boom, had brought us into this meeting. And, we had been butting our heads against the wall trying to get Darkwing Duck on the docket, trying to get, do Rescue Rangers stuff in Walt Disney Adventures. We had like all this stuff we wanted to do. And it kept getting vetoed, kept getting shut down. We called into Ross's office. And he's just super excited that like we have the opportunity to get the license for Clifford the Big Red Dog, and we could do Clifford comic books.
Wow!
And I was like, is that something that you think is going to sell in the direct market? Clifford comic books, and he's like, well, we could get them out to libraries and collections and blah blah blah. Same idea that they'd had for the Disney stuff that hadn't really worked out. And I was like, there's already Clifford books for people that want Clifford stories. Like what So we went to lunch.
All already in those places.
Right. It's already like there's plenty of Clifford product available for the people that want it. It's just not in a floppy comic book form. And so the team went to lunch and we were like just joking about I was doing this bit where I was like the creator of Clifford and I was drunkenly trying to explain to people who just didn't get it what the concept of Clifford was. It's like he's a big dog. All the things that you have to deal with a regular dog are magnified because he's so big. And then one of the table said, how did Clifford get so big anyway? Was it like a nuclear accident or what? And Jason just completely earnest goes, I thought that Clifford grew large because of the amount of Emily Elizabeth's love. And to come from Jason, who was normally like cynical and kind of like, seemed like he was just constantly heartbroken about the way the world was and the way comics was. Like it was this moment of like earnestness, like the little kid Jason before the world had hurt him. And it was like everybody was like, oh, Jason. Like we just wanted to like hold him in that moment.
Clifford was his thing.
Yeah, he understood the mythology of Clifford, and he was very committed to it. But we never ended up doing that book, so there you go. Didn't get that license, didn't do that book.
Probably for the best.
Definitely for the best. Because none of us had any idea what. Yeah, I was like, what are we going to do with this? Like, they're going to throw this to us and be like, make a comic book now, make a successful Clifford comic book, and how do we do that? What does that look like?
Tell a story of Clifford's like lineage, so way back in like early man, dealing with whatever like dire wolf or whatever was his ancestor down.
Well, Jason reminded me because when he said that, I was like, oh yeah, in the book I remember now, like because I had those books when I was a little kid. Clifford was like the runt, and they weren't even sure that he was gonna like make it through the night. And I think like Emily Elizabeth like prayed like, please, like if he just if he could just be strong and, I just want him to get bigger and be healthy. And, it's one of those situations where it's like, yeah, he got bigger. Did they make a Clifford the Big Red Dog movie, Drew?
Yeah, they did. I remember.
They did at one point. Yeah. I didn't see it. I think it was past my time, but I do remember that they made that.
And
I remember telling a friend, like, hey, I had this weird dream last night that they made a Mr. Magoo movie. I think I was telling Joe Corallo this. I'm like, I had this weird dream. They made a Mr. Magoo movie with Leslie Nielsen. And he goes, they did.
They did that. They did that. I saw it.
I was like, oh,
it was
God.
Goofy. That was a movie.
Yeah, that was a movie. That was a thing that happened, and we all let it happen.
Don't put that evil on me. I had nothing to do with that.
And for the longest time, I remember growing up, I thought it was a fever dream. Like, I swear I saw a Boris and Natasha live action movie with like Marjorie Gross from Saturday Night Live back in the day. I don't think it was real. And I'm like, no, that was real. That movie did exist.
Yeah, I think De Niro was in it, and Dave Thomas from.
No, this is 1980s. This is yes.
Were you guys like me, where it's like you'd hear that a Pink Panther movie was going to be on TV, and then you would tune in and you'd be like, "This isn't the Pink Panther. Where's the Pink Panther?"
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about that live action thing?
Yeah, because it would be Inspector Clouseau, but as like, no, the Pink Panther. Like, why is he called the Pink Panther? And then the Pink Panther would be like in the beginning, there'd be like a cartoon for the credits. And as a kid, that always pissed me off because I was like,
that's immensely disappointing.
It was a huge bait and switch.
Yep.
I always ask my dad, when's the Pink Panther going to show up? It's like, no, he's not in this.
Then why'd they call it Pink Panther?
See, Foil Variant gets it. He says he does the same thing as regular dogs, but it's big. That's the Grant Morrison Superman method.
When he's not going full Morrison, yes.
That's right. See, you have to give him a bath, but he has to do it in the pool.
Brilliant. Print it.
Not just community pool.
Right.
Would they have to find an Olympic-sized swimming pool?
They would eventually, yeah. I would think so.
So we're doing pretty good on the. We've got 11 backers on the. For it to be 11 backers and to already be over $1,000 is amazing. So everybody's like
Ooh,
coming
people
in
are jumping on that
pretty high.
launch,
Yeah.
that launch
Yeah.
package.
And
Nice.
I was talking to Aaron beforehand. Like, look, horror is a tough sell. I don't know if you guys are familiar, if you guys are well versed in this, but that's one thing I've learned. Even with Unholy Nightmare, my series, like horror is just a tough sell. People just really aren't into horror comics that much, and it's kind of heartbreaking when I hear that.
Especially when you
Traditionally,
consider
horror
that
comics
used to
don't
be,
do very well. Yeah.
you know, back in the day, it was the biggest thing.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, because you look back at the 90s, right? And so you're talking like heyday Image. You know, you have supernatural horror, which is just kicking all of the ass, right? You've got Darkness, you've got Witchblade, and all of that. But traditionally, just more traditional horror that isn't kind of leaning into that like supernatural, we're going to make everything just look out of control, cool. Which, to be fair, was kind of the Image way, and I love it for it. It just regular horror is hard to sell when it comes to comic books. Very difficult.
Yeah, and even further back, like I was talking about, like the EC books, which Variant's mentioned in the chat. You know, that used to be the biggest thing, was all the EC books by William Gaines, and then what happened? They, you know, he was the most successful publisher out there, so they nerfed him with the Comics Code Authority and Frederick Wordham.
Screw that.
And there's a school of thought that that was a whole conspiracy. It was to just
is there really?
Yeah, that it was just like the publishers got together and were like fanned the flames because they wanted to get a code in place so that they could nerf William Gaines and the success of EC Comics.
So one thing I've invested highly in, I suggest everyone get these if you love EC Comics. They've started doing these collections of the different creatives. So like the high cost, like the Reed Crandall collection. You got the stuff, more Reed Crandall, and you got Graham Ingalls, Johnny Craig. I love Johnny Craig's work that he did. Just these, if you want to read the EC comics in black and white, these are the way to go. They are so damn beautiful. And I just, if you can, Amazon has most of them. If they don't, go to Fantagraphics. They got them collected.
Hey, look who's here. Oh, whoops! Where did it? Nope. We had somebody backstage, but they dropped out. So we'll see. See if they come back.
Yeah, I just had that conversation today. I went to a local shop who I've never been to, even after living here for 6 years. I barely went today. No ladies in the house. I'm like, pants off. You know what I'm saying? Just whatever.
Yeah.
So
speaking of pants off. It's Joe Corallo, everybody.
Hey!
Hi, I legally can't because I'm in a park.
Well, not with that attitude.
You know, big government tells you where and when you can wear pants, and you know it's got to come to an end.
It's turning into a damn police state, Joe.
But yeah, I was just at I'm still at a show. I just dipped out, so figured I'd come in for a few minutes, see how things are going.
Yeah, it's going pretty well. Having some fun talking about Clifford the Big Red Dog.
What a great property, that Clifford.
Do you think that we should make floppy comic books of it, Joe?
No.
See, Joe has heard my Clifford story before with the full context of.
I sure have. But what I'm really excited for is there's apparently they're putting out a new Baby Garfield comic.
Oh, hey, Baby Garfield.
Wow.
So that's exciting.
So all of the things that Garfield would deal with, but smaller.
Yeah. But what if he's smaller and just like less capable and aware?
Is he still a fat cat?
He didn't look that like I don't know. It's the design's weird. I think it's based off like the flashbacks from like the most recent movie or whatever.
Oh no!
Oh gosh,
that's a choice.
Yeah.
Did that movie do well?
It did well enough.
Oh.
Which is the worst kind of well.
Yes.
Right. That's like enough people had
Turtles.
initial interest in it to see it, but nobody saw it thereafter.
When when I saw it in theaters after going to Olive Garden first, we were the only 3 people in the movie theater.
See, no, I like this because you started off with Olive Garden and then went to see the Garfield movie as if you just said, let's have the most mediocre evening possible.
Oh, we did. It was very like, it's funny because like, you ever just like ironically go to like a chain restaurant and you're just like, it's really funny that I'm eating at this stupid restaurant.
Yeah, it's like, here I am at TGI Fridays.
Exactly. Isn't it funny that I'm spending money here and eating? Like,
I'm having dinner ironically.
I don't know. Me and a buddy used to when we used to run a GameStop after like a Saturday close down, we used to like hit up Applebee's because like their happy hour would be happening. We'd be like, cool, we'll spend $20 or $25 between the two of us on food, and then we'll like each get like 4 or 5 beers, like tall ones. And we didn't spend shit, right?
The Applebee's happy hour is pretty good because they've got these wonton tacos.
they do.
Those are good. Yeah. We used to do that after Frankensons. Like we would have the Frankensons show on Wednesday night, and then all the dealers would go over to to the Applebee's and enjoy happy hour.
And those appletini, you go on the right night, it's light on the apple, heavy on the teeny.
Especially if the waitress likes you.
Also true. Also true. That's just a win-win all around.
Oh yeah, Foil Variant says Frankenson shout out. Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I used to be quite the regular at Frankensons until mid last year, and I haven't been since, but be making a return there pretty soon.
Ooh.
I mean, not to work a booth, but just
Well,
a return to like go and buy things.
yeah,
Right on.
that's good.
Yeah, I was working a booth for this idiot. and then I wasn't anymore.
Amazing. We love it.
So, Joe, we've been talking about this project, and I've talked about how it was pretty much handed to me by Murat. Now, like, what I want to know in front of the whole world, what you thought of this project when I brought it to you, and how this came about.
No, it was interesting because you approached me because it was like, well, there's this comic that's like a lot of it is drawn, and there is like this basic sort of like plot, like it was like it was like a Marvel method kind of thing, but the Stan Lee part didn't happen yet. Which is really important to get to before you go to print.
Yeah.
But no, it was really interesting. We did have to move like a couple of pages around for pacing, but like, yeah, like it was interesting seeing it like, and there were a couple of significant drafts. Like there was one draft and there was some like minor changes, but there was one big overhaul that you did pretty quickly. But yeah, so there's a lot of ideas. Like when I finally like look at like the printed copy or whatever, I'm going to be thinking to myself like, wait a minute, that had to go. We're talking about this now. So yeah, but the important thing is a lot of people die.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of like what you want to do in the horror book, right?
Yeah.
There has to be you want to put some horror in there.
No, and there's some genuinely like dynamic bits and some interest. I think a lot of the design work, especially for, the monster is, the golem like character basically is really, really great. And I'm glad it worked out that way. But yeah, I think there's potential, I think, to do more from there. And now that there's like sort of like after this, there's going to be like a finite backstory that's out there that you could potentially sort of build on, because basically we had these pages that we were still figuring out like what exactly the backstory would be. Like we had like the outline and there were key things of like this has to happen, but like some of the finer points, you know, went back and forth on. So yeah, it was a really interesting way to do a comic. And I mean that in like an actual interesting way, and not when you're, you know, out having a really boring time and you just say it's interesting.
Yeah, when you show your
it's not what I mean
piece
here.
Of art that you worked on for 5 hours on a Saturday that you could have done anything else on. She just nods and says, "Oh, that's interesting." Oh, sorry, was that too personal?
Thanks, Mom.
No.
No, I remember. And horror's tough, you know. It's like horror is really it makes good money in cinema, but in comics it's a tougher sell. You know, a lot of horror books come and go, and you know, not all of them do that well.
No.
But I remember I remember talking to Joe. I don't remember what comic you were telling me about, but it was a horror comic, and you said, and it has the line in it. You told me it has the line in it. Nothing can go wrong, and you said, and you know what that means? At least one thing is going to go wrong.
That's a great way to describe that.
Yeah, that's always
more than one thing,
right? But I love that because it's like, yes, at least one must go wrong.
Absolutely.
Like
and you know, like when there's a panel that's like a close up on an axe, I bet someone's going to get an axe on the back.
Mm-hmm.
That might happen.
If a character is talking on the last panel of a page turn, they might get murdered on the next one.
Right? The first panel of that page turn, they lost their head.
There you go.
I mean, it's tough to do a story where nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
Because you don't have stakes at that point.
Right. You know, something.
Unless it's a vampire story, then you always have stakes.
Yeah.
I see
know
what you
what
did
I am.
there.
Yeah.
You monster.
I have been called worse.
Yeah. I'm surprised we still make vampire movies like after God, what was that Nicolas Cage one that's great from the 80s?
Oh,
Kiss of the Vampire.
something Kiss.
Vampire's
Kiss the
Kiss.
Vampire?
Vampire's
Mm.
Kiss. That's it. I love Vampire's Kiss. It's great.
So you're saying we should have stopped there?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it was great. It was maybe the worst Nicolas Cage ever looked in terms of like he was balding enough before he like wore wigs or like did anything about it.
Uh-huh.
And he does an accent that doesn't exist.
Well, like Eddie Murphy's accent in Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah. It's just, and you get to hear Nicolas Cage scream the alphabet.
Yes. I didn't lose it. I didn't.
I would like to have Waze, the GPS service. I would like to have them get Nicolas Cage to do one.
That would be
I
great.
think that would be fantastic.
You can get Master Chief, which is pretty rad, to be honest.
But can you imagine Nick Cage?
I think I'm good with Master Chief, though I would take Cortana, actually.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Nicolas Cage would just constantly try to trick you into taking him to the national treasure.
Because every now and then you ask Waze, like, hey, I don't remember this turn being on the route. We need to steal the Declaration of Independence.
See, I like to think that he would tell you, there's a big beehive up ahead. And you'd be like, what? And then he'd be like, not the bees! That's the Nick Cage that I want on there.
What's in the bag? A shark or something?
So I did bring up Vampire in Brooklyn. Joe, would you say that is a better or a worse Eddie Murphy movie than The Adventures of Pluto Nash, which you saw in theaters?
I saw opening weekend. The Few, the Proud. I got to be honest. I don't hate The Adventures of Pluto Nash. I thought it was okay.
Well, the one thing we can guarantee is that this book, Bloody Echoes, is a better time than The Adventures of Pluto Nash. That is an
Oh my god!
ironclad guarantee.
Yeah, no, that's true. It should have been better. What a weird movie. It's crazy that happened.
Well, Variant is bringing up Bangkok Dangerous.
Oh wow!
Oh my god!
Yikes!
All right, Shelby, you have to do a cover for one of these properties, a comic book adaptation of Bangkok Dangerous, Clifford the Big Red Dog, The Adventures of Pluto Nash, Vampire in Brooklyn. You're doing Clifford. Okay, you're taking Clifford.
Yeah.
Take the money. Take the money. All right, I got to go, guys. I got to get back to the show, but I wanted to make sure I stopped in, said hi, back this book. It was fun to work on. Bloody Echoes, great. Drew, you're great. Whatever. Everyone else is cool. Goodbye.
Later, Joe.
See you, man. Thank you.
It's nice of Joe to take time from his busy schedule of doing things.
He's a good kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that Joe, he's going places, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably do an homage to that cover right there, and you'd see Clifford's butthole.
But here's the thing. It's bigger than a regular dog's butthole. That's why it's
yes.
When he walks away from you, you can't ignore it.
Really going to town, cleaning himself, like
Oh god.
the thing, it would sell really well though, right? It would just be one of those covers like people just want it and they don't know why,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see Murat doing like a draw your own dog variant in the front and have your own dog drawn in and just you can draw your own massive Clifford the Big Red Dog and a huge Triceratops mound of crap right behind him.
Yeah. Or if you got either lazy with it or you had very little time to finish it, instead you just have it be like the back of like his paw. It takes up the whole thing, right? Because at that point, you know what dog it is, right?
You should.
Yeah,
of course.
I would certainly hope so. I don't know what kids are raised on these days, but I was cultured.
I'm charging them full cover rate on that too. I don't care how many lines are on this piece of paper. Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if you charged by the line. You'd be a rich man, Shelby, just based off of the cover you did for this with all that cross-hatching.
Yeah. If I had 1 penny for every line, I'd have like $10.
Well, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for your cover being the one that gets purchased the most, just so you can have those bragging rights.
I'm sure it will. On my own streams, I do trash talk the other covers, so I think it's
respectable.
Yeah.
See, I love
that. I am real happy with it. This is actually probably the fastest I've seen a cover go up for public display in any form. Like prior to me, because a lot of times I forget what I work on, then I'll see an ad for it. Many months later.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, many years later.
Yeah. I just saw. I for whatever reason, I forgot that I did a Final Boss cover for my boy Ty, and that's going to be I think it comes out on the 26th. He's using 2 variants for it. It's a 4C and 4E. So it's a Savage Dragon 1 homage is what it is.
Oh, nice.
I do more than just homages, but right now I'm doing all homages, just so you guys know. Yeah.
That can be fun. I'll come on with that.
No, it's a pretty dope cover. And then the line art one is the 1 in 50, and I'm trying to find a pre-sale less than $50. I find a bunch for $90 or $80.
That's a good sign.
One less than 50. I found one sold for yeah. Well, he never told me if I'm getting comps on it, so I figure I'm just gonna have to buy it. Yeah.
No, you gotta get comps. Come on.
Yeah.
Bug him.
Yes, send him a screenshot of the sales. Be like, "Hey, where's my copy?"
Yeah.
I want my comps. You got to do it like Aldo Rain from Inglourious Bastards. You got to be like, and I want my comps.
Yeah. Well, my luck, Ty will send it. Tyler and Kirkham and his wife, they sent us this really, really awesome dining set for our wedding gift. He sent it to my old address. So whoever lives there is enjoying some nice coronet and beautiful silverware. I'm still talking about this. This was 11 years ago, guys. This is, I still hold him to it because he's like, oh, I'll get you a new one. He never got me a new one. He got me some covers. He never got me a new dining set though. So I'm gonna hold him to that.
Oh, man, if I had $1 for everything that I'm owed.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every misshipped item, I'd have like $10.
If I had every misshipped item, I'd have my my later copies of Arc Athena from from Iconic. Eric Committee's book. Now I'm just gonna have to buy them from him at a show.
He was at New York. We should have talked to him at New York.
I did talk to him. I gave him a copy of the. I gave him a preview copy of Kneel Before Doomface.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I did get to talk to him down in Artist Alley.
Did he finish it? Did he finish the Arc Athena? I only got the first book. I thought he like stopped doing crowdfunds for it.
Well, they stopped doing crowdfunds. They just started doing direct sales. So like he would finish it and then they would sell it. You know, they were at that point where they could do that. So, so I think he did all 6 volumes. But like I said, I've got to hit him up at a show because I need to get 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, he got way better. He got way better. I worked with him years ago at Verotic. We used to do adult comics, for Glenn Danzig. His style back then was very much like Aeon Fluxy. It was very like Peter Chung influenced. He didn't have a whole lot of mainstream influence. I know for a while he was trying to. What did Glenn tell me? That boy wants to be Barry Windsor Smith. He don't know how to hatch.
It's funny because just speaking of guys, guys that have like radically improved. Drew and I were talking today about Dan Panosian, and I was saying where it's like he had come in and he was kind of like he was just aping like Rob's style, on the Extreme books, and then you look at like Dan today and he's one of the greatest.
I was sitting next to Dan at the I think it was our 25th. We were at Big Red Comics. It was our 25th Extreme anniversary, and I pulled him aside, man. I was like, bro, I don't know what you're looking at right now. Keep doing it. That's insane how good he got, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I was like, you know what it reminds me of? I said, it reminds me of, and this is going to sound crazy. I said, if you take you remember Mort Drucker from Mad Magazine?
Absolutely.
Take the sensibilities of inking of Mort Drucker and turn him into a mainstream comic book guy, like a Sean Gordon Murphy-esque type artist. It still has a little bit of that caricature flavor to it. I go, bro, it's like that. And he goes, I don't know Mort Drucker. And I was like, oh my God. He's like, he goes, when I need what did he tell me? He goes, when I need inspiration, I literally just pull out some Andrew Robinson. He goes, that's like my dude right now I'm looking at. I was like, okay, that's cool. And now I can see it. Now that he said that, I was like, oh, okay, I can see that.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree with you. I had the exact same thought about his inks. It's like, there's like, it definitely feels like there's a Mort Drucker in here, but
it feels very, what's the right word for it? Like adult. It feels very I don't know big people words, man. But like it's just it feels like old school professional, right? Like it has something about the way he approaches his work. It's very like confident, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's so good that everything he does is so polished, and there's just such a level of talent that like I've seen like people try to go, oh, he's using AI, and it's like, no, he's not. He's not using AI at all. He's just that good. It looks like it looks like AI colored it because he's a machine, in and of himself. The guy is amazing. And it's like, and if you know anything about like what AI does versus what a live living artist can accomplish, you'll know it's not AI because it's just incredible.
Yeah, I got to see a lot of his work on that book he did called Slots. I don't know if you picked up any of the Slots books.
Yeah.
It's so if you're not aware, pick up Slots, man. Slots is a great book. It's like a boxing. It's like Matt Murdock if he was just a boxer.
Huh.
Yeah, and it's gritty looking, like just his art. It just lends itself to that kind of like.
See, I love his Conan. His Conan stuff is great. I love his pencils and inks he did for Conan at Marvel. Very briefly.
Mm-hmm. What's he doing now? Punisher, Red Band Punisher stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Palmiotti.
Mm-hmm. But I think he did that years ago, right? Like, and it's just been sitting in Marvel's vault, or is that somebody else's project and I'm confusing it because there's two Punisher projects out right now?
Probably because I was hanging out with Chris Bachlow at the Tucson Con, and he was telling me that Marvel was just producing a Doctor Strange run of books that he did, but he goes, "Bro, I drew those during COVID." He goes, "They're super old, and they're just now going to press." Yeah.
Wow.
So Marvel's been doing that stockpiling thing where it's stories that are just they're universe adjacent, so they can just put them out. They're just like they're not gonna ruffle the feathers of like whatever storyline they decide to put out.
Okay.
That's interesting. I mean, if you can afford to do that. It seems weird though to be holding back, like Bacalo art. It feels like you would want to get that out. You would want to sell that as soon as possible.
Yeah, he was saying that a lot of what they do is his covers will come out like really soon. Like as soon as he finishes it, it's already being advertised. But there's something about the interior art, they sit on it forever. Yeah. Unless you're what's his face on X-Men?
Claremont?
No, Neto. Neto stuff comes out pretty quickly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Neto Diaz, yeah.
When he took over G.I. Joe, like I was so happy because it was like, oh man, we're getting like really dynamic art again. And then he had his run on it, and then it was back to the old guy, and then I was like happy to see replaced. And so that was kind of crushing. But thankfully, G.I. Joe's in a killer place right now. So
I agree.
That's one that we talk about all the time. Like, perennial favorites on the channel. Every time they, we're doing new comics, it's like if Jim Zub's got a new Conan out, if Jeremy Adams has like Green Lantern or Aquaman or Flash Gordon, any of his stuff that's coming out, and then the Energon stuff and the Ghost Machine stuff has all been really, really good.
It's one book I outside of recommending everything that Drew touches, it's all gold. I do like to tell people, I'm like, and I think it's personal taste. I know you're saying like horror comics don't really always do that great. Man, Hyde Street is like I'm not going to say it's the best book. It's my favorite book in like the decade, like easily in a decade. What I read and what I draw are two different things, by the way, guys. Cause like I was a huge fan of like Preacher back in the day. I was never really a big Sandman guy. My buddy Steve was, but, Garth Ennis on Darkness was dope, seeing that when that was coming out. Very specific runs of stuff. And I was a big fan of the Stray Bullets comics, if you guys have ever read any of those. Mike Allred's Madman, that's at the top of my list. Yeah. Those are the fun books to read, but I don't draw anything like that stuff. Like my stuff is like Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, Will Spertasio. It's like the Image Crew, and then a couple others. That's kind of the school of art that I come from. But story wise, I really respect a lot of the indie stuff.
And speaking of Stray Bullets, David Lapham, you want to talk about a guy who's had several different drawing styles. It's him. You look at like the old WWF comics he did for Valiant, or you look at Warriors of Plasm he did. Then you compare it to Stray Bullets. It's like, wait a minute, this is the same guy. And
yeah.
I just don't understand how you can go from one extreme to the other when you draw like that.
Yeah.
I remember intensely disliking Warriors of Plasm when it came out. I think that I was like, what is this?
That's because it was trash. Nobody liked it. But
I remember the comic book store had like all these unsold Warriors of Plasm card sets.
Ooh, with the binders?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
That was a really weird, I'm assuming 50% of this panel is too young to remember. It was a weird time for comic shops because you had Brigade #1 with like a pretty cool representation of what's to come from Rob Liefeld. Then you open it up and Marat's art was like, it's not Rob,
Mm-hmm.
And then you had some different stuff with Valiant, like you had some like chromium, or like when they would paste those metal things, like the Turok covers and that. You had that kind of thing coming out, and then And then you had that next to like newsprint hardcore or newsprint, right? Like some of the Valiant stuff, Shadow Man and stuff. And I had buddies collecting that, and I was like, bro, you're gross. Like, why don't you just buy 2 copies? Buy 2 copies of Youngblood 1, man. Save your kid's future, Invest.
We had
that was a big thing.
Mhm.
Buy multiples.
Yeah, everybody thought
you're gonna retire on it. Yeah.
Because comic books are worth money. Look at what Action Comics #1 is going for. Surely Youngblood #1 will hit those numbers.
Oh,
that was like kind of the speculator mentality. And I was working at a comic book store at the time. It was like one of my first jobs that I ever had as a teen. And man, like one of my favorite things was like just setting up the rack in the front every Wednesday. Like, this is, here's the new comics. But then we also had the rack of like whatever big storyline was going on. So it was like, when it was X-Men, Age of Apocalypse, that was that first rack, or Batman Nightfall, and then you would have all the previous weeks in there too, so that comes to the kid and go like, oh, I missed some stuff, and they could just pull them all. It was a cool time. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You had some stuff coming out on really slick paper with computer coloring. You had like the Malibu books that were just coming out, like the Ultraverse was hitting. And I think even like the first Image books, I think that Malibu was like their publisher for the first couple.
Valiant was still hand coloring their pages, man. It was just a weird time. They had like crazy promotion from the Shamus brothers, but like the books were like, you're trying to sell this to kids who we were enamored by, oh my God, every page is like the cover of a magazine and its gloss factor, right? Like, it's just super nice. And then like the computer colors, and then you look at that and it's like, oh, this is like chop shop mentality of putting together a comic. Even though like Bob Hall and Layton and all them were professionals, it was like it was comparing a Pinto to a Mustang. It was just different, right? And as a kid, we're like Mustang all day. No one's picking that other one,
Yeah.
When you listen to Cartoonist Kayfabe and they talk about it, it felt like you're watching a bunch of old people do comics. And you're watching a bunch of young people do comics, and you really just see the difference.
Yeah. It literally was too, because most of us were like, we're not old enough to drink alcohol, like. Yeah.
Well, I remember because the store that I was working for, I remember the owner talking about, he's like, yeah, I'm buying Valiant because like Valiant's hot right now because Wizard's pushing it, and then but he would say the only reason that Wizard is pushing it is because the Shamus brothers invested heavily in the early Valiant books, and so by pushing it, the value keeps going up. So in their shops, they're selling them for a premium, and he's like, it's all gonna collapse. He was like, maybe Exo Manowar will still be sought after, maybe, but like it's all gonna collapse. So he was like, he was trying to like keep his orders, like, how many can we have to ride this wave, but not be overextended when the bottom drops out.
Yeah, they did do some stuff that I don't know if it would be possible today for any writer, just for any writers listening. They were doing things like a first appearance or a first cameo. It was a character walking by, but like very making sure that the artist shows them in full, so you can see a character. Like you remember Shadow Man's first appearance? He was playing a saxophone in a band. Mm-hmm. In a background of an issue, and then that issue like skyrocketed, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, it's the first Shadow Man, and you're like, no, it isn't. And you're like, yeah, because in the Shadow Man book, they show which band he's in, his position, and it's like, that's him. Like, you had to go back and get like Harbinger Wars #5 or whatever it was. But that was really cool that they were doing that. They were like, oh, like all these NPCs aren't NPCs. Some of them have a very distinct look, and that it's sort of like the Spider-Man thing with like the first Venom being in that, what is it, 252 or whatever. It's the hand pushing Peter in front of the train, the Amtrak, whatever. It's that kind of forward thinking, and I don't think a lot of writers today. I don't think they're not capable of it. I don't think they're given the opportunity because a lot of books, none of us are on a monthly system anymore.
Yeah, you don't know if you're
Deadpool
going
books
to be...
I was on, it was 6 issues. It wasn't a year, right? Not even 12. So it's really hard to establish that sort of thing unless you're going to continue a series. And then it's...
I feel like that also probably from a writing perspective, I feel like that also in a publishing perspective, actually, I think it requires like a strict like path of knowing what's coming down the road so that you can plan for that. Because a lot of times you'll have guys that they're brought on to do an ongoing, right? And then all of a sudden they're maybe 4 issues in script wise on this run they're doing, and then editorial says, hey, we need everybody to kind of converge and have their stories like intersect with this big event we're doing, right? That kind of interrupts things, and that can throw things off. And I feel like when you don't have enough of a heads up to be able to still do that, it's a really difficult thing to plan for, and it seemed natural because I personally like the idea of laying little breadcrumbs and Easter eggs that like the keen-eyed reader can go back and be like, oh my gosh, like this thing in issue whatever 50,
Bullseye.
the groundwork for this was laid in issue 2 or
Yes.
3 or whatever, right? Like that kind of thing that's super fun. I'm a big Harry Potter guy, and there are a lot of like little breadcrumbs and things laid in the first 2 books that don't pay off until like the 6th or the 7th, right? Like
Right.
I find that kind of thing super fun and fascinating, but I think the current publishing schedule, especially that the big 2 operate off of, with it being so event heavy, that tends to interrupt the ongoings that you have. That kind of a thing can be difficult to do. I don't think it's maybe impossible to do, but I'm sure it's a lot more difficult than it would have been back in the day.
It doesn't allow you to do the sort of thing that Chris Claremont did, where it's like he'll introduce a story thread, and then you'll go at 2 years before he picks it up again, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, and that issue will be important. It's one of the things that when Silvani and I got to do our second run on Darkwing Duck over at Joe Books, like we were told that we had at least 2 years worth of story that we, that was like, you guys have 2 years, and then we'll see where we're at the end of that. So. Right. Because I like that long form storytelling, I like teasing things out and then developing them. We had this whole mystery that we started, which is because we opened the first issue and Negaduck is back, but you don't know how, because in the previous series, the way that we left him in the Definitively Dangerous edition, he was turned into particles that have scattered all throughout. And it's like, so how is he back? And there was a whole mystery, and the fans were asking like, how? And it was like, don't worry, we're telling that story because at issue 12, we're going to start a major Negaduck story, and then that's going to carry us through to 24, and we'll have the big reveal somewhere in between. And so we had laid all these breadcrumbs so that and none of the fans picked up on it. Like the answers are kind of there if you really know what to look for and you go back through those issues. But we had laid out all those breadcrumbs, and then we got told we were going on hiatus as of issue 8. Because they couldn't afford to do all the books they want, and they really wanted to do a Pirates of the Caribbean book because that was going to sell even better than Darkwing, they thought, and it didn't. Even though Chris Schweitzer did a great script on that, it just didn't. It wasn't as strong a property. It didn't have the following, and then the company went out of business. So we got 8 issues done and didn't get to finish it off. And people still ask me like, what was the reveal? And I'm like, Silvani and I might do it as a fan project at some point and tell those stories. So like, I'm not ready to come out and like spill all the beans, but it would have been one of those things. Yeah, it would have been one of those things when you got to the reveal and then you went back and you reread the issues, you'd be like, oh, they were putting it right in front of me the whole time.
Yeah, I love that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing that I'm trying to do with Blue Shift. And that I've written 2 full arcs worth of scripts that could be broken up into 3 issues each of about 45, 48 pages. And that kind of little layering is the kind of thing I'm aiming for, because I have stuff that I want to do in arcs. I mean, obviously, granted, this is all contingent on me being able to do these, but, arcs 4, 5, and 6, that kind of a thing. I think that's just super fun. I really love the breadcrumb Easter egg style of, long form storytelling and laying the groundwork for things that don't pay off for a long time. That's fun.
Yeah, it's what Drew does too. In like an Unholy Nightmare, like he's got 12 issues, 14, 17, I don't know, 25 issues written at this point. It's like and number 3 is being drawn right now. So he's got like all kinds of like things laid in, don't you, Drew?
Yeah, like little Easter eggs, like you said. I completely agree with that, and I love doing that. And I was telling Aaron that some of the feedback I've been getting from people or retailers, they'll read it and they're like, well, I want to know what's going on with you. I want to know about these characters in this issue. I want to know who they are in this issue. I'm like, I understand, but that's not what the story I want to tell you right now. That's going to be important later on down the road. I'm going to tell you bit by bit when I want you to know it. and when it's important to the story. I'm not going to bombard you with information up front. That's not fun. I like the mystery. I love you thinking along the way about who they are, where they possibly came from, hinting at what made them who they are. And then when we finally get to it, be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's just just having the reader actively engage in the story.
And being able to do it with a deft hand, like, leading them on, just basically taking them on a trip. And it's something that's kind of lost in the current comic book landscape. Because like you were saying, Shelby, you don't get that many issues to do these things. So you can only take people on these short rides. Whereas, with you doing creator-owned stuff, you can make it as long as you want. Like, for example, like Drew's talking about, he's inserting all these little things. And it's like, no, you can't know the whole story yet because it has to unfold naturally, And ultimately, those kind of stories aren't satisfying. One of the reasons that the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie doesn't work is because they front load you with all this information, and then you're bored waiting for the main character to catch up to what you already know as an audience member. As opposed to, say, the hero's journey, like take, Star Wars, which is famous for the hero's journey, which is they show you a piece of the universe, then they cut to the farm boy. And now you follow that farm boy as he goes out into this greater universe, and you're learning these things at the same time he is, and it keeps you engaged. If you know more than the characters, you can know a little bit. You can do the time bomb. There's a bomb under the table, and they don't know it. You can do that sort of thing. But if you are front loaded with the whole mythology, and then they have to discover it, you feel like you're treading water. You're going back and you're doing it again.
Yeah, I was just reflecting on. I just rewatched it recently. It was True Romance with Christian Slater. It's Quentin Tarantino's one of his first scripts he did. I think it's a great movie. But how he had written it as compared to how Tony Scott filmed it, it is completely out of order. Like the way Quentin Tarantino wrote it, it's chopped up out of order. So you're figuring things out along the way. You don't see how they became together as a couple. You're introduced to the drugs early on, going out to California and just kind of discovering things along the way. And just how they got them, where they got them from. It's like, okay. Just really make you thinking along the way instead of just playing it all out straight from A to Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you shouldn't know everything going in. I don't want to write up in the back of the book that tells me who every character is, what their origin is, what their, that was fun when I was a kid, when you'd buy the handbook of the Marvel Universe and you'd sit down and you'd learn about these characters that you had never seen in the comics. But, that was all backstory, the things that happened in the comic. They didn't tell you before the comic came out. You didn't get an entry for Venom that talked about how he was Eddie Brock and the symbiote, and blah, 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 and you hadn't gotten there yet in the story. The story unfolded before you got the info. And I think that's how you keep people engaged. I understand people want to know, they want to know right now, and that tells you that you're doing a good job.
It bullseyes. It tells you you're doing a good thing if they want to know more about those characters. And it's just like, nope, not happening.
The worst place you can be in is if they're like, I don't care.
Yeah, yes.
Apathy is the worst possible outcome.
Mm-hmm. But we're doing pretty good on the campaign. We are almost halfway to the goal.
Excellent.
It's just while we've been sitting here talking. So we are at it's reloading for me. 1371, 17 backers right now. 29 days to go.
Yeah. So
we just need to keep getting the word out there. This was kind of a last minute. Normally I would have had time to promote the show on some of the previous shows that we do, but this was kind of a last minute launch stream. So thanks to everybody who's joining us, and thanks to everybody who's backed the book. You've got 72 hours to get in on the early cover packages to where you can get everything, and then after that, if you've got another 29 days to get in on the other aspects of the campaign. So thank you so much for your support.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And like you said, Aaron, this is very last minute. Just I was told not too long ago that they said we're launching it on this date. It's like, okay, and we're using Mutant Farm Comics. It's like, okay, all right, we'll see how well it goes. But I think according to Murat, it's doing about as well, as he thought it would. So it's like, okay, we're right on track. So that's fine.
That's good. Yeah, it's like we need some Murat promotion. I'm sure we'll drive it even higher. So we appreciate coming on Wes's channel here, taking over. I always love taking over Thinking Critical for an evening because because of Wes's schedule. Wes is in the Philippines, so his stuff is all in the morning because that's his. It's super early for us because that's his night. So he's sleeping right now. So I always love when we can come on and people can come in here at night and mix it up with us.
Heck yeah, you should do it more often.
Yeah, it's tough to get guests to come in on the 7 o'clock in the morning show. You know, if they're West Coast, they're like, that's 7 a.m., dude. On a Saturday, I'm not getting up.
Oh yeah, like the couple times I've been on Comic Fiction Audios, I loved it, ton of fun. But like, it's at 9 a.m. for me, and on Saturdays, I'm probably trying to wake up half an hour earlier than that.
Yeah,
right, at most. I couldn't imagine being on the West Coast still and doing that. I would have been like, no, I'm okay. Sorry.
No, it's like going to work at that time. Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go to work on Saturdays. I already work on Saturdays.
When I was
me in comics, man.
When I was in Maui, I would have done the show, but that's another 3 hours behind. So it would have been like, yeah, I'm not doing this at 3-4 in the morning.
No. Yeah, I'm good actually.
I like that Fiend Machine's comic shop gave away copies of Warriors of Plasm with every purchase. Mine did that with the card sets. It was like, if you bought like, oh, you're buying $25 worth of comics, here, have a Warriors of Plasm card set. And you're like, why? What did I do?
Mm-hmm.
If I spend more, can I not take the card set?
But it comes with a binder and a free Frogurt.
Oh, but the Frogurt is under a curse.
Dolan's not gonna like this, but my very first like professional signing that I had was at this mom and pop shop out in Modesto, California, and they were giving away. I noticed it from across the room. It was something I noticed like kind of after being there for a while. Every purchase of it was an amount. It was like $15 or $20. They were giving them a free Captain America #1 Heroes Reborn of Rob's book.
Ooh.
And because they had ordered so many of them that they just were like, we got like 400 of these in a case. Like these have to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
They're taking up floor space.
I was so pissed about Heroes Reborn when that happened because I'd been a big Captain America fan and I had enjoyed Mark Gruenwald's run, but then towards the end of his run, he was fighting cancer, and he had lost like his really good artists, so he had like some artists that were coming on that weren't that good, and I didn't enjoy the story with like, oh, Captain America's dying and he's wearing battle armor. It was a time when they were putting every character in armor. Spider-Man's got to have an armor, and Cap's got to have an armor, and everybody's got an armor, and I hated it. And then Mark Waid and Ron Garney came on, and we're doing a storyline that I loved, and then that got cut for Heroes Reborn, and I was pissed.
So, you probably won't like this, but Jim Lee and Rob saved Marvel, dude.
Oh yeah, no, sales wise, absolutely.
I mean, it's just the way because I was there. Like they saved. It was a win-win because their books were already dipping. Right? Mm-hmm. Like Image Comics were already dipping because they were so far deep into the runs that Rob's selling, I don't know, 75,000 instead of 165,000. Right. Like the numbers were that different. So you had Marvel looking at, were they already? They didn't file the bankruptcy then, did they? Or was that was right before they sold everything to the movie studios?
Yes. Rob had just finished his first run on Captain America, and it was like right after he had left, and James Robinson came on and Jim Lee took over. It was like right after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was it was an interesting time, but it's one of those things where like if you like digital coloring in comics, you need to shake the hands of all the Image founders because Marvel and DC were fighting against it because that made comics more expensive to produce, and Image is like, screw that, our books are going to kick your book's ass because it's going to look better, it's going to be on better paper, we're going to have better coloring, right? But I mean, if you go back even further than that, you can thank Ollie Optics and Kiko, who was Rob's colorist. He was part of Ollie Optics with Steve that made that software for coloring line art on Akira Epic Comics. Yeah. So if you look at the history of coloring, it's pretty wild. It's like Image Comics was like they juiced the comic book industry on coloring.
Yeah.
and quality of books, And so I know there's a lot of people who are, old heads that are like, oh, I miss newsprint, this and that. I can tell you right now,
Newsprint
dude,
and color flats.
my newsprint floppies, let's see how they look in 50 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you want the longevity of a physical product, because they are physical books, I can still rub the blood on my Frege book, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That book's 30 years old, dude. Like, I can, all my foil books are still, hanging tight. Everything's still reflective. And I know it's all gimmicks and stuff, but yeah.
Like we were saying earlier,
really
the gimmicks are fun. It's like it was a fun, exciting time,
Yeah.
and it was a time of comeuppance. It was like, how can we do the next biggest, coolest thing? And that's part of what made that time so exciting.
Some of the gimmicks were insane. You can actually find copies of, what issue was it? Silver Surfer issue 50 with the Ron Lim. You had the puffy metal. It was the puffy metal surfer like coming at you, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those,
the embossing,
the surfer fell off because I think it's actually a stamp. It's loose in the bag, like in the bottom. A lot of those surfers fell off. So you have a black silhouette outline of the die cut.
Wow.
Yeah. You could find people selling them sometimes as like an error. It's not an error. It fell off. It literally, it was some sort of an adhesive. Yeah. So I'm really curious about the first Spider-Man 2099, those annuals that Spidey did they had the itty bitty holographic in the middle of those giant covers, right? Yeah,
those look terrible. They look terrible now. They did not age well.
No, that was one of the ones that my friend Rob Tokar worked on as editor. He was editor on Web of Spider-Man at the time, and so like every time they would release a Web Armor Spider-Man figure, I would buy it for him as a gift because he was the guy who they were like, Spider-Man's going to be in like Iron Man armor for this. He's going to make an Iron Man armor to fight the team of bad guys. And Rob was like, but he's not Tony Stark. How's he going to build a Stark suit? And they were like, it doesn't matter. It's just a gimmick. And he was like, well, can I at least make him use chemistry? Can we design it so that it's a chemistry-based suit? And Rob said, and in my head, he goes, I knew I had to destroy it in that issue because I didn't want to ever do it again. So that's why it gets torn off in that issue. So I would always buy that for him because I'm like, you're the father of Web Armor Spider-Man.
Nice.
Yeah, he was one of the best editors I ever worked for. I worked for him at Tokyo Pop, and he came in one morning. I've told this story before, but he had an armful of books, and he had his coffee, and he had a biscotti in his mouth, and he's putting everything down. And I would just walk by his desk, and I'm like, "Good morning, Rob," and he stops. And he takes the biscotti out of his mouth, and he goes, "Damn it, Sparrow! I don't pay you to stand around gawking. I pay you for pictures of Spider-Man." And puts the biscotti back in his mouth and goes to work. And I was like, "God, I love working here."
That's amazing. That is spectacular. So yeah, really good stuff. But yeah, thanks to everybody for coming out. I said we were going to go about 2 hours. We're hitting the 2 hour mark. The campaign's doing really well. We'll continue to talk about it. Thanks to everybody who backed it. Thanks to everybody who's thinking about backing it. Thanks to everybody who came out in the chat to hang out with us. And thank you to our lovely and talented panel of guests. You can decide if they are more lovely or talented. But come on, Andrew. You're quite lovely.
Special thanks to everyone who backs the cover that I inked over Morant Michaels right there. Do you have a special name for it, Drew, or is it?
Yeah, I think there is I think it's. Let's see here, or is it? Oh, it's just. I'm sorry, there's not a special name. It's just cover.
I think it's cover B.
Cover B. Okay.
Do you want to give it a special name, Shelby? Do you want in the minds and hearts of our viewers?
Can you call it Cover Best?
Cover B for best.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the one with the hot chick on it, so I'm good with that. So that's why I ordered all 3 covers of it. So
appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you, chat. We will see you tomorrow morning for Comics Aficionados. So I will be up way too early for that. And thank you, everybody. You guys all have a good night.
Cheers, people.
Bye.
I got to click to end the stream more than once. I forgot about that. So see, we're